does he have to do with this?
Let anything, you know what I'm talking about. Let anything. Nah, I don't have to say it right now. Don't worry about it. I don't got to say it up here. Let anything happen. And I'm going to show you and him. Bet.
In shape, 145.
Yeah.
In shape. You know what I mean? So this is different from a Crawford coming up to 168, but we know his walk around weight is probably 170, 180.
The fight that I couldn't believe, that was too insane and honestly just baffling to think would be a real fight in 2025, reminds you that combat sports are the craziest sports on the planet.
The press conference for the Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul fight turned chaotic as what began as standard promotion erupted into a heated argument. Davis lost his temper when asked why he picked Paul over more ranked opponents. Meanwhile, Paul fired back with personal digs about Davis's past, turning the exchange into a shouting match until security and moderators had to step in.
Box, and truly when people run back this press conference, all the shit talk, all the fun, they're gonna be like, wow, this kid really is doing something monumental in the sport, and he's actually an insane boxer, and I'm gonna show that this guy who's been doing it his whole life has been doing it wrong his whole life.
What'd you say, Tank?
He said he gonna outbox me. Whoop-de-doo.
The one thing, when you have a fight of this magnitude, especially with Jake, because his appeal has been global. For you, Tank, do you think this is one of those fights where now all of a sudden you can show your boxing skills on a global scale to maybe people who weren't interested in boxing? All of a sudden they say, well, who is this guy?
Yeah, it's actually like, you know, now that I'm looking at it now, it's just like, I don't know, probably.
From the start, the mood was anything but friendly. Jake Paul, standing at 6 feet 1 inch, towered over the 5 feet 5 inches Davis, making their size difference hard to ignore. Paul used that advantage as a talking point, saying his reach and power would keep Davis away. Davis, who's used to facing taller men at lightweight, countered by saying his speed and timing would erase any size gap once the fight begins. One of the biggest talking points surrounding this matchup is the size gap between the fighters. Many analysts and fans have called the fight uneven, even labeling it a circus before it began. Davis, an undefeated lightweight world champion, is taking on a social media star who usually fights at a much heavier weight. The fight being an exhibition instead of a professional bout has only added more fuel to the debate about its legitimacy.
The fight, but yeah, that was that. This time, Jake Paul is to take on Tank Davis. Tank Davis, he was recently in the news for being arrested for a domestic violence incident involving one of his kids' mother. He was alleged to have slapped her about the place. The charges were later dropped, to be fair to him. But yeah, that was when he was last in the news. What is interesting is just a couple of months ago, Tank Davis was saying openly that he'd lost his passion for boxing and that he wanted time away from the sport. There was speculation that he might even retire as he was experiencing extreme mental fatigue from boxing, depression, and there were mental health concerns over him. However, I guess the opportunity to earn a truck full of money, fighting a completely worthless exhibition fight against Jake Paul was enough to make him change his mind about boxing. Funny that, isn't it? But you know what? I'm not even going to waste your time or mine critiquing this utter nonsense. Suffice to say that this so-called fight we're talking about is an exhibition, and it pits Jake Paul, who is a cruiserweight, by the way, weighs in excess of 200 pounds, and Tank Davis, who is, he was the WBA lightweight champion, who weighs in at about 135 pounds when he fights. So that's a disparity of some 65 pounds. In old money, that's about 4.5 stone. There's also a significant difference in height. Jake Paul is roughly, 6'1", 2. Gervonta Davis is 5'5" at best. So, there's a height disparity there of some 8 inches. And once again, this is Jake Paul showing total disrespect to boxing, in my opinion. Once again, continued to pimp out the sport for his own financial ends. And worse still, the powers that be in boxing allowing him to get away with it and facilitating this utter bullshit. And meanwhile, what's even worse about this is that meanwhile, the WBA lightweight title that Tank Davis should be defending against Lamont Roach in a rematch. I mean, they fought back.
Jake Paul has always relied on drama and showmanship to grab attention, and this press event was no different. From clown antics to shoving matches and harsh personal remarks, everything seemed designed to go viral. The result felt more like a reality show argument than a normal boxing presser. Many described it as noise without much meaning, more entertainment than actual fight talk.
Seen that Jake will kind of bounce in between doing these entertainment fights and then, trying to push toward his goal of ingraining himself in the sport of boxing, and kind of does both of them. So it's kind of a weird place to be, because he wants the respect of the boxing fans and the boxing hierarchy and hardcore boxing people, but at the same time, he'll gain some of that and then lose some of it. It's like a seesaw of his fights. Like one fight, and be like, okay, that's a real fight, or that's a real fighter. And he'll go and he'll win the fight. Julio Cesar Chavez, real fighter, maybe past his prime, whatever, but Jake goes and wins that fight pretty easily, and then gets a lot of respect, gets a lot of the boxing hardcore love. And you have these talks about him fighting Anthony Joshua, and that was going to get even more respect. More people were like, that's fucking crazy. What are you doing? Myself included. That seemed like a massive risk, but a lot of people were like, okay, fair play. Anthony Joshua, that's a real heavyweight. Jake wants to fight him. He's a psycho, but fair play. And then you announce this one, and it's like, well, that's the same thing people have been saying about Jake for years, so it's a weird spot to be in for him for sure. But I talked about this not being the first choice, and I don't think it was, because Coppinger reports next that talks for Jake Paul to face Anthony Joshua collapsed over network issues. Now, we had all heard the talks, and they were pretty public, from Eddie Hearn, from Jake. Nakisa Badarian, Jake's manager, was over in the UK on, I think, Sky Sports, talking about the fight and saying how
Keith Thurman pointed out a clear irony. The critics who bash Davis actually help him stay relevant. He explained that the same people who insult his fights never miss them. Their constant attention, even negative, keeps his name in the headlines. Thurman believes their criticism only adds to Davis's fame, proving that the more they try to bring him down, the more they end up promoting him.
Not happy with Tank. First off, don't watch Tank. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You support it, then what you doing? You can't not support and support at the same time, right? So if you're a boxing purist, then this fight with Roach is really more for you. It's going to be more up your alley, If you just like all entertainment, all fights, all hypes, all everything, then you're going to want to tune in to the Tank and Paul show there, because that's all for entertainment. What is it? For entertainment purposes only, right? It's just say like somewhere in the small print of the promotion. For entertainment, don't do this at home, kids. So fine.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. For entertainment purposes only, So, it's money-making purposes only.
Stephen A. Smith voiced strong disapproval of the growing trend of celebrity exhibition fights, including the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson matchup. He called them disappointing and said Paul should be fighting real boxers, not retired athletes or aging stars. However, he also admitted Paul brings big attention and hype to the sport. Smith later defended Davis after his controversial draw with Lamont Roach, saying Tank's record speaks for itself. He praised Davis's willingness to accept a rematch as the move of a confident champion determined to prove himself again.
Paul is a professional. At some point in time, I don't give a damn if it's a light heavyweight. Beterbiev, Bivol, a super middleweight, Canelo, Mexican Monster, David Benavidez, somebody that actually has a reputation. The time has come for Jake Paul to step into the ring with a cat who actually boxes for a living and give us that fight. I appreciate the fact of him promoting. I appreciate him having the cachet as a former YouTuber turned boxer. I like Jake Paul. I respect Jake Paul. I'm just saying, because I like him and because I respect him, I want to see him in the ring. And I don't want to hear, I know his numbers are better, but then he's going to say, I don't need Canelo. Canelo needs me. Well, wait a minute. It ain't just about pop.
Smith even ranked Davis among the top 3 boxers in the world, crediting his skill, power, and knockout ability. He described Tank as a proven world champion and elite fighter, while Jake Paul remains a newcomer with limited experience. Smith argued that taking such a low-level fight could... Romero, on the other hand, said the Paul vs. Davis event could draw a massive US audience, especially younger viewers. He noted that while Canelo Alvarez vs. Terence Crawford would appeal more to Mexican and Latin American fans, the Paul Davis exhibition would attract more attention from fans under 20 in the US. Romero believes both fights benefit boxing overall, one for pure skill, the other for mass exposure.
We want to know, who will win in this fight? Jake Paul or Tank Davis? It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think. You got...
Personally, I think Tank too little, bro.
Yo,
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank too little.
I said, bro.
I think Tank's too little. That's what I'm saying. That weight class is for a reason.
Davis
that weight class is for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
Bro.
He's too
6'1",
little.
205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70 pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. A 135 pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30 pound difference, bro. If you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once.
No.
He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30 pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like is in
WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson issued a strong warning to Davis, calling his decision to face Jake Paul disrespectful to boxing. Stevenson said if Davis wants to prove his greatness, he should be fighting top contenders like him instead of exhibition bouts. Confident in his own abilities, Stevenson challenged Davis to meet him in the ring and show who really runs the division.
What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fight?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called cap on it. So if you won't call cap and say I'm not who I say I am.
Former heavyweight contender Eddie Chambers also warned Jake Paul about what he's stepping into. He said Paul's past fights against older or less skilled opponents haven't prepared him for someone like Davis. Chambers explained that Tank's speed, knockout power, and sharp ring IQ make him a completely different challenge. Unless Paul drastically improves, Chambers believes Davis will expose him quickly once the fight begins.
Something like this can happen, but this is social media, this is what it's created. There's a lane that Jake Paul has created. Honestly, I'm not mad at him for it. He's gotten a lot of fighters and, actual fighters some shine. It also has done for women's boxing a lot, so I'm not mad at him for what he's been in boxing and what he's created. This is a little crazy right here. This is a little crazy. And a lot of people will say, Tank is too small. Let me tell you something. Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that is not a damn dinosaur is gonna feel something from it. And it ain't gonna be easy to hit it. Got boxing IQ. He may not sound like an intellectual guy when you hear him talk, but he knows the ring inside and out. So there's nothing that Jake Paul can do aside from make it extremely ugly by grabbing him and probably trying to throw him to the ground. I don't know what else, bite him. I don't know, but I mean, the skill level alone. Now, of course, there is a size difference, a height difference, and all that, but he's just going to struggle so much landing a shot. You know, it's just going to look bad. To me, this is the way I see it. It's going to look bad. Tank is going to be too fast. And the punch, I believe, I'm not saying it's going to knock him out or, you know, but it's...
Many boxing experts have criticized the Davis versus Paul matchup as more of a publicity stunt than a real fight. They argue that the event is driven by money and social media buzz rather than competition. According to them, fights like this trade the sport's legacy and values for quick paydays and attention, moving boxing further away from its true roots and respect as a professional discipline.
Solid with you, I'm not a fan of this matchup at all. You got Gervonta Davis, who's been eating county jail spreads for the last month and a half, and he didn't look good in his last fight against Roach, where he had a draw, but most people felt like he got his ass tapped, so he needs the money. Then you got Jake Paul, who gets to beat on a nigga a whole foot shorter than him and 100 pounds lighter than him. And I think this is just nasty work. This screams money grab. And then you know what? The fans lose in the end on this one. Netflix wins, Jake Paul wins, and Tank wins. We lose.
Promoter Eddie Hearn gave one of the strongest critiques, saying this fight blurs the line between real sport and entertainment. He warned that if boxing keeps focusing on spectacle over skill, it risks losing its identity. Hearn said the Davis versus Paul matchup is a business move, built for clicks and pay-per-views instead of true competition. Critics point to the huge weight gap, Paul fighting around 200 pounds and Davis at 135, calling it unfair and even dangerous. Still, some defend Davis, saying he's smart to secure a big payday and prioritize financial stability after years of hard battles.
Beat Jake Paul, shouldn't he?
No, he shouldn't.
You don't think? Sorry. So, I thought we were all unanimous here. You think Jake Paul beats Gervonta Davis?
70 pounds is 70 pounds. Gervonta Davis is very small. 5'5".
He's tiny, bro.
That's
what I'm saying.
Jake Paul,
he's a little man.
If Jake Paul's tucking up,
move on,
and absorbing punishment for walking forward.
So what do you think? Does this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul help the sport of boxing, or does it push it further into decline? Share your thoughts below.